Did you know your business can honor God while transforming lives around the world? Welcome to the iBAM Biblical Entrepreneurship Show, the weekly podcast that inspires and equips Christian entrepreneurs to build sustainable businesses that glorify God and uplift impoverished communities. At iBAM, our mission is built on the three fish metaphor. Give a fish. We provide startup loans to launch businesses. Teach to fish. We offer entrepreneur training for lasting growth, equipped for discipleship. We empower discipleship to multiply impact. Join iBAM's founder, Steve Adams, as he shares powerful solo episodes and expert interviews filled with mentorship insights and real-life stories of how biblical entrepreneurship is advancing the Great Commission. Subscribe now and get ready to be inspired, equipped, and empowered to make an eternal impact.
Hi, Steve Adams here, and I have a really special guest right now, Michael Baer. Mike is what I would consider the modern day father of business's mission as a movement. Now, he would disagree, saying it goes back to the time of Jesus, but I'm just talking about in late 20th century and 21st century. He was my inspiration in getting into this work, and he's got a book that we'll talk about. But Mike, welcome to the iBAM Summit interview.
It's exciting. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. And I wish I could be somewhere where everybody is. It sounds like it's going to be a really exciting time.
Yeah, no, it is. It's exciting. And so let's just get started with, well, first of all, tell us about your family, Mike. I like to start there.
Oh, great. I love to start there. I usually end there, but that's a great place to start.
Mm-hmm.
So been married for almost 50 years. My wife,
Wow.
Cindy, we met 52 years ago in a missionary training school in South Carolina, of all places. We've been blessed with two amazing daughters,
Mm-hmm.
both of whom are married, and between them, they have given us 7 beautiful grandchildren.
Wow, 7.
3 are in Mississippi and 4 are in North Carolina near us. And I've been blessed, man.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
So are you originally from North Carolina?
No, I'm originally from Atlanta.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I've lived all over the South, and
Yeah.
so it's hard to call any place home these days.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm in Waco and I'm from Michigan, so but we're the grandparents that followed the grandkids. So
Since my girls live in 2 different states, it's like, well, we didn't follow either one of them. We just you can't follow both, right? But
You
I
can't.
understand that. Yeah.
No. So when you let's talk about that. You were in missions training school. So what did you do initially right out of that early stages where you're freshly married, you're off going out chasing, the dream?
Yeah, well, so it's really what I did before missionary training school is where the story begins. I actually was involved with 3 other believers at the University of Tennessee. We'd all met the Lord around the same time, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll spare you the gory details, but without knowing it, we ended up planting a church on the University of Tennessee campus.
Wow.
And did that.
This would have been late 70s?
This was early 70s.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, right in the kind of the heart of the Jesus movement.
Yeah.
And we were
Johnny Majors was the coach, right?
Actually, Bill Battle was the coach.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Johnny Majors came after I left.
Okay. All right.
There wasn't room enough in Knoxville for the 2 of us, so I had to leave so he could come back and fix that team. No. We started out. It was 4 guys that we were all baby Christians, and we were trying to figure out. This is an age-old question: What does a Christian do on Friday night?
Wow. Yep.
Because we knew what pagans did. We were world-class pagans, but we didn't know what to do. So we got together and said, well, let's read the Bible and pray, and we'll play cards. And that sounded like a reasonably healthy evening. That grew from 4 young men to about 160, 170 college students.
Wow.
And we ended up doing all the things churches do. We would have never called it a church, but that's really where it began. That's what gave me in the beginning kind of the heart for pastoral ministry.
Yeah. Okay. And then take us from there. Yeah.
Okay. So then I went to missionary training school because I just felt the need to get to know the English Bible at the time. So I went to a school that was started by an Australian guy in Greenville, South Carolina, really intense discipleship program, and loved it. Met my wife. We got married. We went on a 3-week honeymoon and came back and went to Hilton Head South Carolina and planted a church there.
Okay.
And so we were there for 7 years. The church did really, really well, had amazing things happen. But during that time is when I ended up being led to leave the formal pastorate and go into business. And as a way of reaching people that would never darken the door of a church.
And why did you do that? Because this is right down the middle of what we're trying to talk about. So
yeah, and I understand. I have to say I understand both sides of the equation. Yep. You know, of having been a formal pastor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and wasn't looking to leave, but I was struggling with how do we reach the people in the community? They were not coming to any church. In fact, I had a friend of mine who wrote me a letter from Japan. He said, "Hey, please pray for us. It's only 1.5% Christian here. It's really dark." And so, yeah, I'll pray for you, Bruce. So I did. But I started thinking, well, what is it here? And I would have assumed, buckle the Bible belt, South Carolina, that it would be, 80, 90%. It was 2%. 2% Christian.
In the Bible Belt.
Hilton Head is a unique community. It's not a truly Southern community.
Correct.
It's
really very cosmopolitan. Blended. Yeah, a lot of retirees.
So, and we looked at that, and we realized that if you took every person that went to any church on the island, all of them, assuming they were all Christian, I mean, that's a huge assumption, was 2% of the population. So I wrote back and said, "Bruce, I'm praying for you, man, but now you got to pray for me. If you're 1.5%, I'm 2%. And so we got really heavy-duty evangelistic in terms of trying to reach people. That went on for about a year or two, and I'm praying because we're not seeing a lot of fruit. We're seeing some people come to Christ, but not a lot. Yeah. And so I kept praying about it. And one guy said something to me that really shook me up, Steve. He said, he was a lost guy, business person, and he said, "Look, I don't mind you sharing this stuff or telling me this stuff." Only Christians use the word share. And he said, "I don't mind you telling me this stuff." But he said, "You're only doing it because it's your job." And that was like a baseball bat in my face. And so I went back to the Lord and said, "What are we going to do? How are we going to reach these people?" And so prayed specifically about that question for a year. And finally, about the end of about 12 months, the Lord said, "I want you to become one of them." So I said, "What? What do you mean become one of them?" Because, I knew he meant leave the church, go into business. And I said, "What? Why? What are you talking about?" And finally, if you ever argue with God about something,
it doesn't work.
You never win. You never win. And I didn't win this one, but he finally said, "Look, it's what I did." And meaning he became a man and became one of us. Exactly. And so I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And I didn't know I had any marketable skills, but I started in the business. Got into the training world, and then that led to strategic planning, and I became a consultant for about 10 years. I was working all over the world doing business and loving it, and God was giving me these great opportunities to share the gospel with people who would not darken the door of a church.
Was this like in the 82 to 92 range?
This was I left the church there in 84, and so for the next 10 years,
I was consulting.
And I would describe this as I was the sort of faithful layman. I don't like that term, but back then that's how you thought about it. So I was not in the pastor anymore, but I was the faithful guy in the business world, and it was great, and I totally, absolutely loved it. Opportunity to share the gospel with people all over the world through business. People would come up to me, and some of the folks at this conference that are tuning in have experienced this. I had never had as a pastor, but people would come up and say, "What's different about you?" Well, if that's not an open door for the gospel, I don't know what is. No. So I would always say, "You sure you want to know?"
Yeah.
I wasn't teasing them. I was like, "I'll answer that, but do you really want to know?"
Can I jump in here? Because I had a really great interview of a guy who built a $1 billion company, and he probably is in his mid to late 70s now. He sold it a while ago, and I started asking him things like, how did you treat your suppliers? How did you treat your employees? What was the standard of excellence in the business? And all of it was just grade A. And I said to him, "John, don't you think that communicates the gospel?" And it kind of it does. I said, "So how you show up in business, how you operate," and I know you're going to agree with this because I know your curriculum. But talk about that a little bit, because that's what you're talking about there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so there's sort of two ways of looking at it. One is we carry about within us. Paul refers to it as in this earthen vessel. We carry about this wonderful treasure, Christ in us.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And Christ in us is going to make himself known. You don't even have to try. So just the fact that you are a believer in any setting. For me, it was business. Whatever setting he's called you to is where he's going to use you. He didn't make a mistake in calling you there. So he's going to use you. And part of how he does that is by simply revealing himself to other people through your life. They see things that you may not even be aware of.
Right. Yeah.
And so, Paul says in another place, he says, we have a fragrance. The fragrance for some, we are the fragrance of life, right? A fragrance of Christ and life. And for others, it's the smell of death. But there is something, people get it.
Yeah.
And so that's part of it. I always encourage people, look, when you're in the business world or wherever God's placed you, just don't worry about it. Don't try too hard. Just be yourself, because it's Christ in you that's going to make the difference. Not you trying to live for the stuff we try to do for Jesus.
I know, like the sales pitch. Yeah,
exactly. So just throw that stuff away and just say, Lord, you're in me. Show yourself to people today. And he does. He shows up, and it's amazing. So that's part of it. But then this question of excellence. I remember thinking, and I was reading in Daniel about this, and I actually have spoken on it a great deal. In Daniel chapter 6, and it's the chapter about the lion's den. We all know the story, Daniel in the lion's den, and how he got, he was told he couldn't pray, but he prayed anyway, ends up in the lion's den. But we always forget the things that led up to that encounter. Daniel had risen to be a great leader, one of the 3 or 4 great leaders of the empire. And people were jealous of him. They hated him. And they said, basically, we can't find anything wrong with this guy. What are we going to do to bring him down? And it'll have to be about his religion. And that's why they set up this conflict where he was not allowed to pray, which he did anyway. But what's important about that passage, and I would encourage people, just go take a quick look at Daniel chapter 6, the first 5 or 6 verses, and you'll get it. Mm-hmm. It talks about what you just said, Steve. It talks about Daniel was a man of excellent character and a man of excellent work. And so they, even his enemies, this is to me where it's so powerful. When I'm setting up a business, whatever it is, it could be IT, it could be a service business, it could be hospitality, it doesn't matter. When I'm living from an excellent heart and I'm doing business in an excellent way, then people are going to notice, even my enemies.
Right.
Are going to find it impossible to bring me down on the way I do business. That's just not going to happen. And that's a biblical principle. This word excellence is a beautiful word. I've used it more and more because we get hung up in perfection. Well, perfection, forget that. I mean, that's got death written all over it.
Yeah, it does.
But excellence is not a place you arrive at. It's a process. It's a journey toward something, toward Christ-likeness, toward, perfection, whatever. But it's the journey is excellence. And I remember, you guys all remember the old Lexus commercial, the tagline, the relentless pursuit of excellence.
Yep.
What a biblical concept.
Yep.
Right. And so when we do that, we do excellent work and we do it with an excellent character. It not only is something that people can't argue with, they actually begin to want it. They begin to admire it. And the world does sit up and take notice. And many times they will then ask us, where does this come from? Where did you learn this? So to me, it's a very powerful concept. Now, I'll throw another word at you. It's become my new favorite word. It's avoda. It's a Hebrew word. And it means work, worship, and service to humanity. But it means here's
all
the
in
thing.
one word,
exactly, and all at the same time, right? So it's not like just a word with 3 meanings, like the word win. You win your wife, you win a game. We all no. This is one word with 3 powerful meanings, and it means those things simultaneously. So when I am working or serving or worshiping, it's all the
they're
same
all
thing.
Together.
Yeah. And so when you start seeing your work as worship, and I don't mean you go around singing hymns all day. That's fine if you want to, but that's not what I'm talking about. When you see your work, it's just the doing of the work itself is
intrinsically valuable. Yeah,
exactly. You don't have to do, and so then you start understanding, places where Paul talks about working as unto the Lord. What does that mean? Well, it means seeing that what you're doing.
Yeah,
Avoda, exactly. So all three at the same time, simultaneously, and it's a transformative concept. It really is.
Yeah, there's a lot of us that are older now. I don't think the church meant to do it, but it was kind of maybe inadvertent. But we had this instrumental value of work, meaning I work so that I can give money to the church and to missionaries.
Yeah, totally.
And that's valuable. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But in Genesis 1:26 through 28, I mean, God unpacked that the work is intrinsically valuable, yes. Right? It's inherently valuable. We're contributing toward building of culture and society and human flourishing.
It is significant that work predates the fall. A lot of people believe, work has been cursed. Work is a curse. It's not, no.
Sin.
No, work, sin. Yeah, exactly. And so let's not mix those up. Work shows up in Genesis chapter 1. You just quoted it.
Yep.
And in Genesis chapter 2, in verse 15, we're told that God put Adam and Eve in the garden to work. It.
Yep.
It was a part of the way we were made. It's one of the reasons, I hope I don't aggravate somebody with this, but it's one of the reasons I don't believe in retirement. I do believe in different chapters.
Yep.
And I believe it's fine to sell a company and go do something else. But the idea of never working again, you're giving up a huge piece of how God made you. Think about this.
Right.
So Jesus told the disciples, he says, my Father works and I work, and you will work. It's a part of who God is. God is a working God.
Right.
And when you work, you're like him. You're expressing part of the divine image inside you.
And we're going to work in heaven.
That is a truism. That's such a truth. And people just look at you like, what?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to
so
work
why
in
are you
heaven.
going to retire? It's interesting. I think I shared with you when we met offline that I'm in longevity medicine as one of my businesses. And our doctors are naturopathic. They're full MD type doctors, but they've learned medicine from a different perspective. And they talk about the concept that one of the worst things you can do is a full stop working retirement. Because they said it's rooted in the literature and science that you are sending signals to your cells to die.
That's exactly right. I will tell you, and I understand it now. When my wife and I first moved to Hilton Head, and as you mentioned, huge retirement community.
Big retirement, yep.
Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful place. But we noticed, and somebody pointed this out to us, in the local paper, they would always tell you what bigwig had retired and moved down there. Whether it was a corporate executive or, 4-star general, I mean, really elite kind of population. And a friend of mine said to me one day, he says, Mike, when you see that in the paper, put a pin in a calendar 6 months from now, most of them will be dead.
Wow.
And I thought, that's a horrible thing to say. He was right.
Yeah, they build this big house and they move down there and die. Wow.
They dropped like flies because I never heard that point about giving your body permission to die, but you certainly, what is your purpose?
Yep.
And you can only play, and I'm not against, leisure. I'm not against any of that.
No.
But you can only play golf so many days a week. You can only play so many sets of tennis. You can only go fishing. I mean, if there's not a purpose bigger than you, that is contributing in a meaningful way, then your reason for living is now gone, and your
cells know it. Yeah.
We are body, soul, and spirit. It's all connected, and somehow that message gets through. And I don't mean to sound metaphysical, but that's real. And so I always advise people. I said, just if you want to slow down, that's fine. There's a passage in Scripture that talks about the Levites no longer at 55, no longer had to carry the Ark of the Covenant. Makes sense because they might drop it.
Yeah.
But they never. There's no concept of retirement.
Right.
It's just not there. And it's not slavish work. If God has called you to work, then it doesn't get better than that.
No,
I know all these people that say, I can't wait to get out of work and go into ministry. I said, but you are in ministry.
Yeah.
You're there.
You're already there. When I sold my last company, I took 6 months off and I went right back in. I got 3 companies now, and I love it because I know this is what I was called to. I was a corporate banker, and I was going home after one of the biggest peaks in my career, big closing. And I'm pretty conservative, Orthodox, evangelical Christian, and I sensed God powerfully telling me He wanted me to quit because He wanted me to be one of them. Same kind of concept you had, one of them, being an entrepreneur, because I was working with entrepreneurs. I had a burden for them. I was seeing how they were self-destructing routinely at home and in their personal lives and things like that. And I had no idea what it meant, so I just did it. I quit, left my job, moved my 2 little kids and my wife to another state, and we started our first store. And then later on, that's where I intersected with your work.
Thank you for listening to the International Business as Mission podcast, a space where we explore how to build businesses rooted in biblical principles that create global impact. But we're not just here to talk. We're taking action to spread entrepreneurship to poverty-stricken communities around the world. Our mission is to be the catalyst that empowers people to build sustainable livelihoods and break the cycle of poverty. We follow the 3 fish principle. 1, give a fish, providing startup loans to empower entrepreneurs. 2, teach to fish, offering entrepreneurial training for sustainable business practices. And 3, equip for disciple making, building a community that supports spiritual growth alongside business success. This is life-changing work, but we can't do it alone. We need passionate impact partners like you to join us on this mission by becoming a donor. Your generous gift will directly fund the establishment of new businesses that provide dignified work and hope. Just imagine your donation could help a single mother in rural Africa start a small farming venture that allows her to feed her children and send them to school, or a young man in Southeast Asia to launch a small business. Breaking the chains of generational poverty. This is the power of entrepreneurship as a force for good. Will you join us in unleashing it? Go to ibam.org now to start impacting lives through the transformative power of business as mission. Together we can create a world of flourishing.